Death by Bunjie. In this episode of Death by Bunjie, we are going to look at the Excalibur Hybrid-X. That's this crossbow that I'm holding in my hands. Had an opportunity to play with it in the backyard along with friend of Bunjie, Jim, One-Eyed Archer. And we're hopefully going to answer some questions you might have about this great new crossbow from Excalibur in this video. The Hybrid-X, as you can see, it is a hybrid. It is recurved. It has recurved limbs. Don't these look like micro limbs? Except they're on backwards. They're upside down. The riser's down here. Reverse limb technology. Look familiar, huh? Death by Bunjie, the Scorpion Death Stalker, the slick black Cadillac. Remember that great crossbow? This is that kind of technology. The limbs are on backwards, so it is a reverse limb crossbow. It's not a reverse draw crossbow because it actually draws off the backside of the cams right here and comes down. But it gives you the power stroke, the increased power stroke that you would expect from a reverse draw or a reverse limb crossbow. That nice long power stroke gives this thing a speed rating of 435 feet per second. This is Excalibur's fastest crossbow ever. Now, I know what you're going to say. Some of you are saying, wait a minute, Rich, what about that Bulldog 440? Huh? There is a Bulldog 440. 440 is more than 435 feet per second. Yeah, but the Bulldog 440 got its speed, which they no longer make, incidentally. They don't make that anymore. But that got its speed from a 350 grain arrow. This crossbow, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you, gets its speed from a 400 grain arrow. Yeah, thank you, Excalibur. That's what we've been talking about here in Death by Bunjie for a long time. I'd like to see the 400 grain arrow is what they should be using to get speeds on these things, right? And they have done that in this case. And we're going to speed test it right here on Death by Bunjie in a 60-yard backyard. Now, this episode is a little bit different. Friend of Bunjie, Jim, is going to be leading us through this. I'm going to be running the camera because when Jim came over on Saturday morning to play around with this crossbow, I gotta confess, I had just gotten out of bed. He had to wake me up when he got here. It's crazy, but I had just gotten back from Manitoba. It was 9 o'clock in the morning. I never sleep until 9 o'clock in the morning, but I was worn out from a full day of travel and 6 days of bear hunting. We got a lot going on in Death by Bunjie. I get home and I got this crossbow to unbox and play around with, and so we're doing those videos. At the same time, we're doing bear hunting videos. Has it ever been a better time in history to be a friend of Bunjie? I don't think so. I don't think so. You're in for a treat. We got a whole bunch of really fun videos coming your way. Without further ado, let's join friend of Bunjie, Jim.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Death by Bunjie.
That's great. One-Eyed Archer, Jim, is going to show us some good stuff here. Ooh, look at that V-Flight Pro.
What do we use them in?
I don't know. Will that go in your SWAT?
It might, but...
Actually, it might.
It might actually work.
That was a joke, but I don't know. We're going to find out. Well, we're not going to find out about that. We're going to find out what's in this big, giant FedEx box.
Ooh, I bet I know what this is.
Ooh. Oh, a scope. A vintage scope.
Overwatch.
The Overwatch.
How do you use these things?
I don't know. They have like reticles and there's knobs. Look, there's knobs.
Huh. But there's a battery too.
Yep. That is a nice scope, though.
Preset at 400 feet per second.
Oh, okay. It's already pre-marked. Ooh, okay. Somebody's been perhaps getting it ready for a crossbow or something.
What kind of bow would shoot 400 feet per second?
I don't know. A bow that fits in a box this size.
Look at this.
Oh, it's got a case. Can't beat that. Okay. Excalibur. Look at that.
Uh-oh.
What's that? Okay, that's it.
Oh, look, we got 3 more.
Yep. These are from Dave at Wyvern Creations. Is sending us a stock, a whole pile of stuff to play around with here. And he threw a pile of bolts in here for us, some arrows. Excalibur V-Flight Pro arrow
which is really a rebranded Black Eagle Executioner, and there is nothing wrong with that at all, in my opinion, with their proprietary Hybrid-X knock right there, ooh, and some vanes, and no field point whatsoever, just the arrow. 300.7 grains. Oh yeah. V-Flight Pro, because of these fancy knocks. This is what we're talking about. Look at those knocks. Those are an interesting design. Did you look at these close, Jim? Now check those out. Take a look at those. They've got little notches.
Yep.
Where they got notches on their notches.
Looks like a rhino knock.
Yep.
And
yeah, this is the rhino part, this ridge right here. That looks very rhino-esque. But It's got this little notch. And then it's got a...
Ooh, see how they're rounded for string angle?
Yep.
Very nice.
It's a well-made knot. I mean, I bet that is about as machined as you can get with a knock. And I think I see why they've got aluminum and not plastic. Because there's going to be a lot of pressure on there when you pull the trigger on something.
Especially when it's...
Ooh. Oh, man, if only we had one of those to... Look at that. That nothing says Excalibur like...
Kind of works.
Reverse limb.
It says owner's manual.
This is the owner's manual. Look at that. The owner's manual. Well, that can't be too hard to use it. I should be able to even figure it out. I don't know. Oh, this is part of the owner's manual.
Oh, wait. I think we
got the rest of the owner's manual.
I think that page got ripped off.
I will read it before this video comes out. Are you ready? Are we down to the nuts and bolts here?
I think so.
The real deal. You can slide this box right down. Oh, look at there it is. There it is. Look at that.
Oh.
That's actually pretty cool looking.
Hybrid-X. You know, it's a lot smaller than I thought it would be.
Really? Yeah, it is like that's a...
It's not bad.
No? The first feel of it is...
First feel. Everybody said the length of pull was a lot, but I'm 6 foot. Feels pretty good.
Right in the mix?
Not bad.
I think it looks good. And this is uncocked. Now hold it up so we can see the uncocked. That doesn't look too bad.
No.
For a compound style crossbow, that's not that
Look at the
complex, really, to me. Look
at the build here. No diving board scope rail.
Yeah.
Supported by the...
Yeah, you can put as heavy a scope as you want on there. Plus, the weight of that scope is going to be sitting over your hand.
Yep.
So you're going to have a little bit better balance, I think, with your bigger, heavier scopes. From what first thought.
Oh, yeah.
Now, how is the balance? When you're holding it and shouldering it.
Really good.
It does? Yeah?
Yep. Yeah, like I'm not even... No movement at all.
Man.
I don't know if I like that. It makes me
want one is what, yeah. Yep. You're going to end up adding to your collection. You got more? Oop.
All right. We've got quiver.
Oh, quiver. Okay, it does come with a quiver. It looks like a 4-arrow job. It's like a bigger version of the micro quiver. That's kind of nice. More packaging material, but this is a string changing tool and an Excalibur sticker and a string changing tool. This, and you can see there's little grooves right here where that wraps around right there. It's going to go right around there. Those grooves that feeds down in there to change your strings. And then we've got grooves from what I saw in videos. You can see we got those grooves right there on the limbs. Yep. For that. And then only the cams are hooked to the limbs. Right? Just our cables come off of here.
Yeah, the string wraps around.
We're off to a pretty rough start. We got the stirrup-on, I think, backwards. It goes a couple of different ways. But if you look at it, it's got a good lean to it. Like set it in your tree stand and the thing will tip over on you. So we'll take that back off and switch it around. But
maybe we should have read the instructions.
Maybe. Who's got time for that? So Jim and I are used to the SWATs kind of standing up a little bit, that style of stirrup. That is not what's going to happen with this stirrup on this one. It just starts to roll. I kind of assumed it would stand up. Had we read the little book, we would know.
Oh, it's standing.
Oh, don't let the wind blow on it, though, because it's kind of makes it, it's not going to stand that way, you know, long term. But there is a little booklet that came with it that explains the stirrup position. And you got two options, but they aren't going to make it stand up like that. So you got basically two options. This one offers more broadhead protection if you put it out in front like that. It's probably the way I'd use it. This can go the other way too. You got to be careful. There's instructions on here, but you don't want it flipped up the other way because it would interfere with the flight of the arrow, obviously. So after 2 hours, we finally got the stirrup on. We're making some great progress.
Plus we have this.
Yeah, without the, we made a trip to Dunkin' Donuts before we came and got started here. So we are ready. We're in for the long haul on this one. One way or another, we're going to get this thing together. Starting to look like a real crossbow.
I think it's all right there.
Think so?
Yeah.
Well, for today's purposes, it'll work. We'll make it work.
Yep.
Yeah. If I'm to keep this crossbow, that scope's going away anyway. But I got a whole pile of other scopes to put in there if I need them. So Genevieve has joined us. What do you think of the Hybrid-X?
Cool.
You think so?
Yeah.
It is pretty unique. I don't think it's ugly. You know, I think it's a good looking.
Now that I've seen it, it looks nice.
What's this?
That is a vintage scope, Dad. I'm very familiar with those.
I was going to say, this is actually the scope you probably should be using if you're using a vintage one. This is the high end, the Overwatch,
that
the high end from
Excalibur. More
Excalibur.
beefed up than mine.
Yeah. Genevieve's on her way to her shop to do something with
Bunch of bears. This is Gary's bear.
Old Grumpy Hunter's bear.
Yep.
That is a nice coat.
Oh yeah.
Look at that.
Yep. He's got a nice.
It's Bear Week in Genevieve's Second Life
Something I just
Taxidermy
noticed
Studio.
too, he's got brown at his ears, which is cool.
That is nice.
Yep.
It matches the muzzle.
He's getting a nice rug
He's
done
good.
on this one.
That'll be cool.
And then your
can't beat it.
bear's underneath.
My bear from last year from Manitoba. Yep. Good deal.
Got a whole pile of work for me.
Are you tired? We just got back from Manitoba.
Oh man, I woke up at like 9 and I'm still tired.
Yeah.
Somebody woke you up at 9.
And me.
And Dad, yeah.
Jim woke Genevieve up, and Genevieve woke me up. Yeah, we had this planned out, and I'm like, I don't need to set an alarm. I'll get up just fine.
Nope.
No, it was
That
rough.
didn't happen.
This is the worst frowny face I've ever seen.
Not bad. It gets the idea. There's Mr. Yuck, the Mr. Yuck of arrows. I don't know if people remember Mr. Yuck or not, but this is one that Dave at Wyvern Creations sent us. He sent me a message. Don't use that one because he threw it in here by accident. So we did catch it. It is been hit with another arrow because this thing was same hole accuracy, Jim. Same hole accuracy.
Ooh,
yes.
like that.
Yeah, we do like that. I like the sound of that. But it was a fractured arrow that we caught. So he was nice enough to give me a shot at this crossbow to play around with it and see if I like it or not. And we're going to crank it up here, do some speed tests, and then hopefully before it rains, get out there and shoot at some targets. Look at this terrible yard. Well, let's see what it does here. Do some speed testing. The first crank of it. So we push a lever, release the trigger box, lower that right down on there. Whole thing goes down, rides right up under it. Arrow retention spring and everything goes down right above it. Snap in place. Yep, nice.
Put it on safe.
Right there. And we got a nice belt to start cranking with here. Now the handle stores away nice. It's a really nice compartment for that handle. I like that. In there firm, you're not going to lose that. Just start cranking away. You can see those cams are doing. And it goes all the way back up. You hear a click.
Back off 3 times, it said.
And then we take the handle out. Oh, and it's on safe already. So that just snaps in. Now here's what it looks like cocked. That's not a bad design right there. I think that's a good looking crossbow, Jim.
It is.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Good thing I kept my Excalibur hat.
You're all set up. All set up for today. Get those
Do the 100 grainers.
100 grainers first, and this might be the only time you get shot with a 100 grainer here in the kingdom of Bunjie, that's for sure. Now this vein down, make sure you get it in here right, Jim. Don't want to have any problems.
Different.
Put the white vein down. You do have a cock vein on these guys.
This is not a good part of the video right here.
Oh, pull her up there. You're above the arrow retention spring.
Hold on. You got a one-eyed guy with no depth perception.
There it goes. Here, you are ready to pull it right back. Snaps in place.
Snap.
V Flight Pro with a 100 grainer. Gonna do a quick speed test. Look good?
Yep.
You feel comfortable shooting it?
Yep.
Hit the bulldog anywhere but on the
Band-aid.
yeah, not on the band-aid. First shot. Looking good. Boom. Boy, that's penetration right there. We got 406. 406 with a 100 grainer.
Wow. You let me shoot the other target, huh?
Yeah, that did blow right through there though, even with the 100 grainer at close range. That's too much for that. I think what we'll do is we'll back it up a little bit too, off of it, and shoot the other target.
Click.
Back off.
Alright. It's like loading a 10-point trying to get in that rail. Get in there.
We should get it under that, the arrow retention finger there. Snap it in place. Everything kind of snaps in place. The
Yep.
crank, everything.
Nice.
Yeah, that is nice. All right, we're gonna back up just a little bit on this one. Sort of eyeball it through there and see if we can beat that 406. That seems like a little bit light for me. Just where you feel comfortable. We got a heavier duty target, the no FPS limit, Kinetic 1.0.
Ready?
Yep. 445. Yeah, so that was a whole different ball game. It was, we were too close the first time, but if we're shooting 445, and you can see the difference in target too, like the newer targets. This is a modern speed crossbow that requires a modern target, I'm thinking. 100%. Did it fit good? What's the, that's not that loud.
No, not
Now, we've got a lot of sound stuff on here, right? We've got some rubber on the limbs. I'm not a big fan of rubber on the limbs, but man, if you're getting speeds like that at 100 grains, that's plenty for me. And we've got stirrup silencers on here that Dave put on for us. Pretty slick. I do like that. But the volume, the wind's blowing, we're outdoors. Hurting your ears at all?
No, God, no.
Yeah, this is
My ears
nowhere.
aren't ringing.
Yeah, one thing that was a complaint about this, people told me it was loud. And that's not, this sounds like an Excalibur too. To me, that's got an Excalibur sound to it. It kind of does. It's a lot like Genevieve's crossbow.
Yep.
And that was with the light arrow.
Yeah.
I get my 635 grainers in there, we'll see what it does. You want to do another 100 grainer?
Yeah. I'm not sure about that speed either.
100 grainer one more time. We're going to try this again just to see if we like that 445 for close.
Alright, ready? 446.
446. I think we got ourselves a smoking fast crossbow is what we got. Holy cow. That's a 100 grainer. I'm not shooting 100 grainers, but I don't know that I'd be afraid to shoot a 100 grainer with this. The reverse limb on the crossbow, so that we should have, I don't know about the draw weights, we're going to look at the specs, deep dive into that. But I don't hear the twang, the sharp, harsh sound. I don't hear, again, the wind's blowing. Maybe that's a thing, but this is not harsh. It doesn't sound like it's working too hard.
No.
Smell any burning, do you?
Don't smell at the shot. That's what I was worried about with the aluminum knocks. Nothing.
Oh, that's true too, yeah. Yep.
Nothing.
Yeah. Man, so far we got a shooter. So far, we honestly spent more time on that stirrup, putting that on there, than anything else. And the other part Jim commented on that was difficult was the loading the arrow. That's
The first time.
The first time. And then here we are the third time, fourth time, putting an arrow in, it goes in seamless. You just got to make sure you get under that finger.
Yep.
And then once you do that, it's butter. I mean, it's a pretty smooth process. And we've got a 150 grainer on there. Oh yeah. Probably the heaviest you're going to need to go is a standard arrow with a 150 grainer on something like this. And have a lot of stank on it. We're going to see what we got for speeds. 427. That, ladies and gentlemen, I think is one of the fastest crossbows I've ever had in the 60-yard backyard. We've had some Ravens here that are faster, but other than that, like the Scorpions aren't touching that we've used. The other Excaliburs, obviously. The SWATs, I haven't gotten that speed out of that. That is a sweet speed for a 427 feet per second crossbow shooting 150 grainers. Don't know the total arrow weight, but that is well over. This should be 440 or 450. Yep. Should be a good heavy arrow weight. When we're getting with a 400 grain arrow, with the 100 grainer should have been a 400 grain arrow.
Yep.
And we're shooting 446.
Yep.
But if we can definitely hit with a 150, and you got all that snap and punch in the target, this is the first arrow with a 100 grainer that I got to cut out of the Bulldog. So that is impressive also. We got that kind of penetration with a 100 grain tip on this target, which a few years ago, Jim, that Bulldog was cutting edge.
Took everything you threw at it.
Yeah, no matter what you did. Never poked out the other side hardly. Occasionally you did. I think I had the Scorpion with a 600 grain arrow on there once, poke out the other side really good, and actually touch the wall behind it in the basement when I was doing some speed tests.
That rate, in this kinetic,
Yeah,
that's what? Over half the arrow penetration?
yeah.
That's crazy.
That's insane. That's a lot on this target, because this is this is the target of targets for bags in this day and age. And
we're only 5 feet away from it, but still.
true. This is not that loud. I was told, everybody was complaining, oh, it's real loud, it's real loud. But if you shot Excaliburs, like, you know, I was telling Jim I was in Manitoba and I played around with an Exomax that didn't have any dampening equipment on it whatsoever, and I forgot how loud these crossbows are without the sound dampening equipment. It's insane. But if we're shooting lighter arrows and we've got that kind of sound, that kind of tone, that is the timbre of the sound. Like, I love the sound that's coming out of this. It sounds like a healthy shot to my ears.
Yep.
And the
No
movement,
twanging.
no twanging at all.
Yep.
No buzzing, like no not that harsh metallic sound.
Yeah, for anybody who thought this wouldn't compete with the 10 points in Ravens, I don't know. What we're used to in a compound crossbow, this fits right in there.
When they build something, they're thinking ahead for durability and reliability and simplicity, in a sense that if you got to have cams, it's going to be a little more complex, right? But that's how you get speeds in this day and age. It's mechanical advantage, and they do that for a reason. This Excalibur mounts the cams to the rail, to the barrel, so these don't move. Like, this isn't floating around at the end of the limbs.
Right.
And I think that reduces the sound.
Hit them on anything.
Yeah, you're not going to hit them. You've got a compact size. I mean, this width, 18-inch arrow, so we don't have to worry about cam to cam, the outside of the cams. You're looking, it's basically 18 inches to the width, right?
Yep.
18 inches wide. Pretty sweet.